Guys, welcome back. Here we are, episode 17. You've been around for so long, and today we're going to hit the millennial effect and how generational trends are going to impact South Atlanta real estate. Y'all, this is a big topic, but first, I'm Tyler Willis. Tyler Willis Photography. Let's kick it over. Payton, what do you got going on over there?
Hey, I'm Payton Peoples and Company with Keller Williams Realty Atlanta Partners.
And I'm Megan Mulvey with CrossCountry Mortgage here out of Peachtree City.
I'm well known as Christian, only Christian. I'm with
Love
CrossCountry.
Love it, love it, love it. We got the whole team. We got the whole team.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Megan, welcome back.
Thank you.
But
Yeah,
hey,
so this is an appropriate topic since we're all part of this millennial generation.
But some of us don't like to be called
Technically.
millennials, though. I mean,
Yeah.
we
I don't
just
think any of
we're a
us like to be
part of
called
it,
that.
but we don't like to be called it.
Right, because we're elders.
That's right. That's right.
Respect your elders.
That's
I don't know
right.
which is
Wise.
worse.
Right.
What are we seeing in not just necessarily our area, but like I know this is kind of like a nationwide conversation piece of what does owning real estate or building generational wealth, owning a home at all, look like for our generation?
You know what? I think our parents and grandparents, when they started working and they got this really good job that paid, I don't know, $7 an hour or whatever, they actually took advantage of the benefits of the company. Setting up a 401k, pensions and stuff like that. So they're good. Now, as millennials, we see, I don't know, $40, $45, $50 an hour coming in, and then we're like living the life, just getting in debt. It's like live only once.
Yep.
And
YOLO.
they're like, no, you die only once. So they're like, yeah, let's take the trip that we cannot afford. Let's buy the car that we cannot afford and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's a very legit observation for our age range.
Yeah.
So that people are more about the experiences rather than buying a house. Like,
Yes.
they'd rather take a trip.
And
They'd
I
rather
can
do
attest to
experience.
that as also a travel agent. And I do all this stuff too, plus being a travel agent. I have a lot of people that reach out to me and not understand the concept of how much a trip will cost. And then I'll be like,
Right.
they'll go, hey, I want to do a week over here. I want to like all inclusive this and this. And I'm like, okay, that's $13,500. And they'll be like, wait, it's how
Easy.
much? like I have to
Right.
take this entire and put it on a credit card. Like, no, that's not how you do travel. That's not how you do this.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, they have no, like most of the people in our generation have no concept of how much stuff really costs.
Right. That is also an accurate observation.
Yeah.
I would agree.
That's very true. Well, and I think, we've all gone through it, like the COVID years or whatever. I think that transformed a bunch of people too, to where, they were stuck at home for so long. And
Yeah.
me even being on quarantine now, like I'm losing my mind, to where, we're not supposed to like go anywhere for so many days, but that was 2 years of this crap. So, I think people value now more things like experiences like going on vacation or buying the nice things versus spending money on fixing a
Exactly.
house or saving a house. Yeah.
A water heater. Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah. New dishwasher.
Oh, so
Right.
true.
And it's
like-
exciting though.
I know when we were talking about how we wanted to handle like talking these topics, the first one that we talked about was like educated but not wealthy, and all four of us were like, "Damn, yes, nail on the head."
Yeah.
So like, literally popped up in my memories just a couple days ago that my 15-year anniversary of graduating with my undergrad
Yep.
was
Saw
just,
that.
just a few days ago,
Yeah.
and asked me what I'm doing with that.
Oh, same.
Damn thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
When 16 years ago, 20 years ago, high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm not using it. And marketing in 2008 is
Way different
not
now.
the same marketing.
not the same as now. Right.
2024.
Right. Yeah. So it's very interesting because I feel like our generation, that was what we were taught, right? We were taught, go get a higher education, go to college, follow this plan, and then things would just fall into place after that.
Yep.
Because the whole world fell apart right when we were graduating from college, right? And then it was like, okay, well, now we can't find jobs. We can't do anything. So a lot of our generation turned around and went back to school and got master's degrees.
PhDs.
Or because
Yeah.
else could they do? They couldn't find a job. I was lucky that I found a job, but it didn't pay great.
And
Barely covered our mortgage, if that. But it's also one of those, like, you're just paying your dues. You're trying to work
Yep.
work the system, and but at the end of the day, we had to choose: did we want to start a family, or did I want to go to work? Because the income that I was going to bring in wasn't going to cover daycare, and so it was going to be either we were in the negative, or I was literally working to send my kids to daycare.
Pretty much.
So we chose, nope, I'm just going to stay home. And so I walked away from my career to be able to start our family. And I know a lot of millennials either made that same choice, or they chose not to start a family at all.
Yep.
In lieu of being able to further their careers, or because you honestly have to choose one or the other. You don't have the option to do both in most
cases,
Yeah.
yes. But let's talk about that for just a second. Like the cost of childcare today, like there's no reason that daycare should cost what it does. Like, okay,
No.
like I get it. I get
I'm in
it.
the wrong business.
But like,
about $2,000.
Right, we're in the wrong business.
Yeah, we pay about $2,000 a month for 2 toddlers.
so like
Yeah.
that right there alone, like the system's broken. I'm sorry. There's some issues.
24 grand a year.
Right
Yeah.
there. Like there's some fundamental issues right there.
Right.
And so
Right, because especially when we're all told, like, oh, go get these, take out all these loans, go get a higher education, get your degree, you'll get a great job. But then we turned around and either didn't get a job, or the jobs did not offer the types of benefits that previous generations got. So
Exactly.
like, I can't tell you how many times people are always asking, like, oh, because my husband works in healthcare, like, doesn't he have a union? No, like, where we live, unions really aren't a thing. So, like, in the South, unions aren't really a thing in the majority of fields.
Right.
So, in the North and out West, I know lots of
Yep.
people are part of unions, and that's great, and I am happy for them. But that is very specific for your region.
Yep.
And that's not promised for everybody, and nobody really has pensions anymore or anything.
Yeah.
So there's nothing leading people to have any type of longevity with a company, because why? Other than to buy a house if they could. To be like, oh, I've been here for 2 years.
Right.
Here's my proof. Here's my proof of
Yeah.
income.
Yeah, I think we're living in a moment, especially the newer generations. I was watching this thing on TikTok saying, "Do you want to know how much your coworker is earning?" And then there's this fishbowl app, and
Yep.
they tell you, "No, you have to quit
Yes.
and after a year, and then go to a different place, and then they pay you more, and then they pay you more, and you keep escalating. So you keep losing your benefits probably for being there X amount of time." And then you restart again you may be making $2 more an hour, but that doesn't really make a difference for if you want to become wealthy, or if you want to afford a house that is probably a lot more expensive. But the thing though, when they suggest for you to do all these things, it also increases inflation, because the company that is paying you more, they have to charge more for the products or the services. And then guess what? That's inflation, because now the company that lost the employee has to raise their prices to pay another employee more too, and then whoop,
Yep.
now we cannot live anymore.
Right. And now nobody can afford groceries.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, I'm sure like the big credit card companies are going to suffer very soon. I saw an article yesterday about the car business, and saying that, first we heard about us not being able to afford a house. Now it got so bad that people are not going to be able to afford a car.
Yep.
It's like, what's going on? Ford, Toyota. I mean, the brands that actually sell the most amount of vehicles in the whole world are raising their prices so high, and interest rates are not helping at all. And then, this is funny, because now I charge you $70,000 for a truck. And then, so you don't feel the pain that much, I'm going to charge you a lower interest rate if you finance with the manufacturer. You're still spending 70 grand, and you think it's a good deal, and you're
And
like,
right now,
"Holy
like,
moly."
that's a basic vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Basic
not even
car,
like anything
SUV.
fancy.
that's that's your baseline SUV, because I just turned one down when I purchased my new car last year. I was like, nope, that's too much. I was like,
Right.
Toyota
No,
Camry,
it is.
hello.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Right.
No, it
There's
is.
a reason my
Like,
husband still drives a Corolla.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
my first brand new car was a Corolla, and I bought it for like $15,000 new. Now like regular Corolla and dealerships are doing this, is they accessorize in such a way because they increase their, the profit, not just with the kind of profit they're making with the vehicle itself, but the more accessories they sell, the manufacturer actually sends them money back, and then you don't notice that. But like now your $23,000 MSRP Corolla is $28,000 just because it has the paint, like the stripe on the side,
Right.
and then it
Right.
has like a
Something
shiny thing
stupid.
on the wheels and stuff like that. So that's dumb, and then you're forced to buy it because there is
Because
almost nothing
that's
else.
it.
Mm-hmm.
I do know
And
that a lot of people, especially after COVID, were in our generation, were just very focused on, well, if I have to be at home or if I have to be somewhere, I want to be somewhere that's going to give me the opportunity to live my best life. I don't want to be stuck inside or super far away from things. Or so I do know, and I see this a lot with my millennial aged clients, that they want to be somewhere where they're either close to things or they're able to be out in nature, or things like what's near us, like Trilith. So it's like a town within a town, or in Peachtree City where we have 100 miles of cart paths and stuff. So it's giving people the option to have kind of an escape from their mundane life. So they can't afford to go on vacation, but they can go on a walk outside.
Yeah.
Versus living in the city where that might not
God,
be
everything costs.
So much
Yeah.
more.
even
Yep.
more. Right. So I do see that trend a lot. What about you
Yeah.
guys?
What?
I've seen it. I mean, shoot, even us with like, I mean, speaking like everybody with kids, like it's free to go feed ducks at a pond here in Peachtree City, but if you were in Atlanta, you'd have to go pay to park at a park and like pay for gas to get there and whatever. And you can literally charge your golf cart and like go.
Go anywhere.
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
it's, yeah,
You don't have to pay for gas.
yeah, yeah.
That's
But
generally
the flip side is you pay to live in Peachtree City.
Right.
and that's generally like the first thing I ask whenever I show up to a shoot, like, hey, where are you moving to? And like 9 times out of 10, it's people in our area that are like, well, I'm moving out further to the countryside where things are cheaper. Like they're like, hey, I can commute into work or I work from home, and they're wanting to move out to where they can buy more land. And I like it's okay. The last 2 weeks, I've done probably 15 shoots where everybody was like, I'm moving south, like LaGrange, Moreland. I'm getting further away where the construction's going from Atlanta down to us here in Peachtree City, Newton. And it's going to keep going south. And I told him, I was
Yeah.
like, that's smart for you because in
And it
about
hits
15,
you.
20 years, your property value is not going to shoot up and you could sell and keep moving further south. And so like they're kind of on that cusp of where the construction line is. And so
Right.
like
Because,
that's
out there, they can build brand new houses for $150,000 less
Bingo.
than here.
Yeah.
bingo.
Yeah.
Like in LaGrange, I just shot one just this last week. Same house, same builder in Coweta Fayette, 500, 550. Down in LaGrange, 300.
Yep.
Same house, same
Yep.
acreage, same everything. And I was like,
Yep. It's
holy
literally just
crap.
the location.
Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
like give y'all 5 years
No,
and
for
you're going
sure.
to have a $500,000 house. So,
Right.
And
But a lot of
money
people
is
in our
moving.
generation don't want to do that either.
Yeah.
They don't want to be that far away from things.
Exactly.
So I feel
Right.
like there's a
Yeah.
lot of like maybe our parents' generation or even,
Like they wouldn't
generation
care.
before us, X,
yeah, Generation
That-
X.
that they're more in that space of like taking
Moving.
advantage of things like that where they're moving. Because I feel like a lot of those people are probably close to, if not empty nesters. So now they aren't so concerned about school districts or
Bingo.
whatever.
Yeah.
So now they can
Yeah.
go buy super cheap and make money, which is the best place to
Yeah.
be. But
Right.
I was showing property to a couple that they're super successful. Like she's an attorney and he owns his own business and they're doing really well for themselves and they're our age and they are still not homeowners. They're still renting right now. Like this will be their first purchase, but they're wanting to purchase land to like really put down their roots, build their dream home, do this whole thing, and they are only able to do this because their parents are in a position to help them.
Wow.
And that's like their gift to them is to pay for the land so that they can build their
And start.
compound, their family compound, and start their own family
Just the fact,
and I
though.
was like, that's the best gift you could ever give.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
The
Right
fact,
now,
though,
yeah.
and attorneys having to have help from a previous generation. Like, come on
Correct.
now. Like,
Correct.
what is going
Right.
on there?
And she's not like a new attorney. She didn't just start. Like, she's an established, like, and that's the thing is like, it's just, it seems like, and we talked about this a little bit earlier about how we have recently seen these charts floating around of like what a family of four needs to be comfortable in each state. And it's even here in Georgia, it was over $250,000
Yep.
for a family of four. Like, and that wasn't even like, oh, let's put money away for savings and let's, better our
was
kids'
just
future.
getting by.
That's literally just
Yeah.
paying your bills, like, and not being drowning in debt. And
True.
where do we find these jobs?
That's what I'm saying. I'll never
I'd love
forget
to know,
when
'cause-
Kylie and I got married. It was back in 2014. She was making 42,000 a year as a teacher. Starting salary whenever I started as a teacher, I was 35,000 a year. That's a 4-year degree. That's a master's. Like, that right there alone is another issue that we need to talk about. So, like, just the starting salary from certain professions, like, that's where it really starts to focus in on, like, what am I doing here in life? Like, am I here to like prolong, or am I here to like have fun? Like, what's the purpose of my life? So, like,
Right.
it's just
No,
hard
yeah,
whenever you
absolutely.
spend time going, hey, I want to do this in life, and then you're like, oh, but
Yeah.
but the salary's not there. So it's like that hurts. That hurts your pride
Yeah.
after you go to a 4-year college,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, I just wasted 4 years of my life. So it's like,
100%.
Yeah.
Well, then you have to have the conversations too with people who are in our generation, or even maybe they're of the younger generation, the not elder millennials, and they can't afford anything. Like, they can afford rent, which is astronomical within itself, and their basic necessities, and that's it. And they're like, how are we ever going to get out of this hamster wheel?
Cycle.
Yeah.
And and I don't know what the answer is, because, could you go get 5, 6, side hustle jobs and like constantly be doing something? Sure. But like, that's not sustainable. You
Nope.
can't do that forever. You're going to drive yourself into the ground. So, I mean, of course, this is a much larger conversation of like how fucked up our system is. But I mean, at the same time, I'm always trying to be like super aware of what's going on so that I can try and deliver the best types of information and knowledge to these buyers in this age range, because I mean, not everybody has a well-off family that can gift them funds to go buy land. Like, not
Yeah,
everybody
absolutely.
has the support, or there's a lot of people who are just trying to deconstruct the trauma that they grew up in, and they don't really have a relationship with their families anyway. So, like, let alone gifting them anything. So it's just, I feel like there's so much growth that's happening in our generation of like trying to just figure it out, because there's no manual. Like, everything that's worked in the past doesn't work anymore.
That is true. We lived through a phase that actually pushed us to find new ways to make money. Now we're going back out there, and it's the ways that we used to make money don't work anymore.
Yeah.
And the fact that how education doesn't mean wealth anymore. Like, our parents or that generation were sending their kids to college, and now those kids don't want to get out of college. They want to finish a PhD, their master's, or anything like that to just have a decent income. And they get out of that school period, and then they go out in the world. They make enough money, yes, but then, like you said, now I have to compromise the fact that I want to start a family, or I can actually work remote and live 50 miles away from Atlanta, in order to afford and then be okay, live comfortably, take a vacation once in a while, and things like that. It's like, we didn't grow up like that. And now that you are in that position, you bought your house, you're now renting, you're 50 miles away, and you're doing okay. Now you have 8 years worth of debt just on education. All that time that you went to school, now you have it in your credit history. Now you owe 100 and something, 200, 250. I was trying to pre-qualify this lady the other day, and she had to pay $3,000 a month on the student loans. It's like, what do you have left to buy something?
wow.
And
It's like,
these people typically aren't like doctors or people who
no.
qualify for like the special like, you know, let's defer that and not look at those type of situations. These are just
Yep.
normal people who
Mm-hmm.
have to pay that every
Yeah,
month, and I can't. How? Like,
that's the new
That's
working
wild.
class. You know.
it's
That's
ridiculous.
the thing. Like you'd have to make 300, 400,000 just to offset it. I mean, it's just, it's insane. Like anymore, the cost and I mean, the stress too that it puts people under, especially when buying a house. I mean, it's crazy. Like between everybody said, I mean, like you said, it's a much bigger conversation. Like raising a family. Do we raise them? Do we move here? Do we do this? Like, do we rent? Do we buy? Like, what can we do? And it's like they have to pick now one thing instead of being able to combine it
Right.
all. Like,
Right.
I mean, when I got married, I was like, yes, let's get married. We want to have kids. So we knew the plan. But now it's like, if you just are getting into that age range or whatever, where you're thinking about getting married, buying a house, it's like, well, which
School district.
do we
one
want
do I
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which path do we take?
Yeah.
And it's the fact that you even have to choose that
Yeah. It's sad.
It's wild.
is ridiculous. But then, you know, because the statistics are already showing that like there's not going to be like our generation is not having enough kids to replace us.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people just aren't having kids.
And that
I mean,
might help a little
crap,
bit.
when it's as expensive as it is. I mean,
Right?
just in daycare alone, like I said, we pay 24 grand a year, I think. I mean, that's a salary.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Somebody's salary out there, yeah,
yeah.
that is renting.
And,
Yeah, they
and
can't-
imagine like, and that's for 2 kids. Like,
Yeah.
but like times that by how many kids are in one class.
Oh
Like,
my God.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Talking about a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank
yeah. Megan, remember when Enzo was born and I asked you if you could please like put me in the wait list for
Yes.
daycare?
Yeah.
And I joined many wait lists and it's been
true.
2 years already. Nobody called me.
Yeah.
There's a
Right?
long.
They just called
wait
you?
list. No, they never call because they're busy. They're like, dude, we're full. I was like, where are these
Yeah.
kids coming from?
Well, and literally, it's one of the least expensive. I mean, it's one of the. I mean, we've been there forever because we love the place and the people and everything. But and the teachers, and our son was in pre-K with a great teacher, so we kept them where they were. But I mean, it's one of the lesser expensive, and we
Right.
drove to it.
Yeah, and the lesser
Yeah, it's
expensive is
still
expensive.
not even
But
right,
it's
but
still
it's still not
ridiculous.
even like you're driving out of your way to take
Yeah,
the kids.
just to And I mean, we live in Peachtree City. We drive out of Peachtree City to take
Right,
the kids
to
to
go take
daycare. So I mean, it's like there's so much more to figure out now, and we own our house, so like that's another thing. It's just like you got to figure out all this stuff now, whereas it used to be an easy decision. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
$130 a week per kid. That was good
Yeah.
back in the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Now
What
it's
is
like
that?
everybody is 3 times that.
Wild.
It's
At
like
least.
it's like the difference $100 a month within each other, and then you're like, where do I go? Do I go where my son's elbow got dislocated by one of the assistants?
Golly.
They're making so much money, they still making $14-15 an hour, and then
Yeah.
you don't get qualified people there. So I mean that's another topic, but I have to say it. I mean, like I keep reading on the news like all these accidents and stuff like that.
It's nuts.
To get us onto a different topic.
Yes.
Another one that I think is a big trend in our area is house hacking, where somebody purchases a house, then they have their friends move in to help pay off the mortgage part, but then they increase it by just a little bit to where they're still making money as the landlord. And so, like, I think that's another huge thing in our area. Just the other day, I was doing a house where the agent was like, I'm going to try to promote this as either a multi-generational home or for the family that wants to try to house hack and let another family move in because it had first floor, second, and then a basement, and the basement was completely decked out with its own kitchen. And so they were like, and it had its own entryway and its own driveway. And so like they were like, you could legit house hack this and have 2 families in, and you could rent out the bottom. And I was just like, when did this ever become normal? So
Right.
it's like,
it's huge out here.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like house hacking is
Well,
a huge
especially-
trend.
Right. Especially with how close we are to the movie
Yeah.
stuff in Trilith.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
We need a lot of short term. There's a huge
Yeah.
need for short term rentals and stuff like that in our area.
True.
So what I have seen a lot of is people showing up and looking specifically for things like that. They
Yeah.
want either an investment property where it could be 2 for 1,
Yep.
or
Mm-hmm.
they live on the top, they rent out the bottom, like something that can basically eliminate that cost for them.
Yeah.
So it might not even be a moneymaker. It might just be that it's
Break even.
covering their cost.
Yep.
Yeah.
To allow them to live. And that's, but
Well,
again,
and I mean,
you have to
my
be able to
God, you
qualify.
can go on like any Facebook group around here any day and see like looking for short-term rental, looking for basement rental, because the
Yeah.
other side is like people can't, like we were talking about, people can't afford a house right now. Some people, so I mean, most people, a lot of people.
A lot of people.
So that's our point. But they're on there looking for these within a budget, and so the most convenient way to go for a lot of people is that basement entryway or second entryway or mother-in-law suite, whatever they want to call it, like that they can rent for a short term or even long term. I mean, crap, some people are like, I need it for 2 years, I need it for 1 year, here's my
Right.
situation, here's my budget.
Yep.
And so I mean, it kind of helps both sides, I think. Like,
Right.
I mean,
What's frustrating too is watching some of these big subdivisions.
Yes.
There's one in Noonan specifically. I'm not going to say what it is, but we all know what it is. And they very recently, within the last like 4 or 5 months, voted as an HOA to not allow rentals anymore in their neighborhood. Now, had they
After
gotten out
a
of
ye-
control,
Yeah.
maybe, like, but also I can see both sides, but also when we're at this point of like people can't find housing and they can't afford to buy a house, putting rules like that out there, it's
Yeah.
so restricting. And then houses in that neighborhood are sitting for forever
Yeah.
and they're not selling because people don't want to buy in a place where
you
there's those
can't rent
kinds
it
of
out.
restrictions. Yeah, they don't want to be told what to do. And
So many restrictions.
yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, they're ridiculous sometimes. HOAs,
Yeah.
I understand, you need some rules and you need somebody to enforce them, but man, you left
At
your
some
flower
point,
pot
yeah.
outside for too long.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know. That's just dumb. But, going back to subletting or just like, house hacking. This is actually not new for me. When I live in New York, this was a very common practice. Usually college towns are the most
yeah.
common for this.
Yep.
A kid that actually has the means, they buy a house with their parents and it's a primary residence for the kid. But all of his friends from college live there and then they all pay the mortgage. And then once he graduates, he has an investment home to rent to all the college kids, and then he makes all that money. And for lending, this actually works perfectly fine because not here necessarily, but we see up to 4-unit houses in most of these towns, college towns, bigger cities. So if you buy a primary residence and you can rent the other 3 and make up for your mortgage, we count the other incomes as your income to qualify you for the purchase of primary residence. You just need to live in one of the units up to 4. So I would like to see more duplexes around this area,
Yes.
but I mean,
Yes.
that will actually promote a lot. And then this is one of the biggest indicators that actually money is moving to this estate, and then real estate is not going to die anytime soon, or it's going to go down, because this is what happens in bigger cities. We have Chicago, New York, that this is very, very common. And then now we're living in that where we're actually going to see most of these units happening in the future, and it's just going to happen. Everything is becoming so expensive, but we have people moving in that actually can pay for these things. So good indicator. Good news for the market. Not everything is bad news.
That's the funny thing about how different real estate is in different areas of the country is I have a lot of referral agents that's all they do. They just do duplexes. They just do doors for investors, and so they're working deals where investors are like, oh yeah, I need 100 doors. Like, and that's what they do. And I'm like, what is that? We don't do that here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a thing in our area. Now, I know a lot of people have very polarizing opinions about that kind of stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, like, yeah, like in Carrollton and neighboring areas
Yep.
where there's college towns, like that's the smart way to do things.
Yeah.
Like,
They're even building like in that area. Speaking of it, one of my friends is one of the builders out there, and he is. Well, I know they're putting together like a tiny house community.
Oh yeah,
See?
I've seen this.
So,
I've seen the plans for
I
it.
mean,
It's cool looking.
it's
Yeah.
crazy, and I mean the cost still. I'm like,
Yeah.
like for what it is, I'm like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's another thing that people now are having to face. Like, I mean, do they want a big expensive house, or do they want, like Tyler said, to go on vacations, and like have a small place? So I mean, there's all kinds of variables like that people are weighing now. So it's crazy. It's crazy time.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think parents, if your son wants to be an artist, let him be an artist. Explore that. Yet the old times don't work anymore.
No.
Don't send him to college to be a doctor or a lawyer. Just explode what they actually are good at. Because that's going to bring, besides joy, financial stability for your kid. He's going to
Yeah.
love what he does, and then he's going to bring stability for his future family as well. So please support that.
Right. Yeah. Just ultimately find
Yeah.
what your kid wants to do and support
Yeah.
them. And,
Yeah.
and put the push of higher education really isn't
Yeah,
necessary anymore.
our generation has been pushed to do something that we don't like to do.
Yeah.
Just because it's financially stable, we have to go to do this and that and that.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
it really?
This is where we hit the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're like,
Yeah.
holy moly, 8 years doing this, and then now I have to start again doing something that I may like, and then now I would like to risk it because I have nothing else to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep.
And the hard reality of it too that you have to swallow is like, here I am. I'm pretty far in student loan debt. Started my own business, and within a year, I was able to make my teaching salary times however much. And so here I am going. So I wasted how much of my life, and I could have been doing what earlier. And so you're
Right.
like,
Let's put a disclaimer on that, because don't get it twisted. That wasn't easy.
no,
Yeah.
Like, just start a business and be like, oh,
No.
look at me making all
Yeah.
this money.
No,
Like,
it
he
was
worked his
about
ass off and still
six
does.
Yeah.
6 years of hard ass work before it really took
Yeah.
off. So it's
The
like,
timing was
Yeah.
right though for
Exactly.
you, Tyler.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when I met you, this was your side job.
Exactly.
And then you were getting so
'Cause
much
I was-
experience.
yeah, I was having to
And
do the
then
side hustle
when
life.
Yeah, I remember you. It's like, yeah, this is what I do on the side, and
Yep.
then this is gonna help me do this, and that, and then suddenly, like a
It took
year or
off.
2 years later, you
Yeah.
had all that experience that you were actually busy. You were one of
Exactly.
the few photographers that were actually super busy, and then look
Yep.
at you, you're successful now.
And
Yeah.
You know,
it's hard too because now I'll get people calls and they're like, "Hey, I see your business took off overnight," and I was like, "It wasn't overnight. it doesn't work like that
No,
way." But like the
True.
hard,
Not quite.
nobody
like
sees it like that.
no, because I just see the social media side of it. Like, oh yeah, I had
Yeah.
75 shoots in a month. Like that's not how it happens overnight. But what I really want to like hone in on is like, you can really, if you follow like your passion, you can figure out how to make a job out of it and then charge your worth for it too. And I think that's what's really going to start helping this new millennial generation. As soon as they figure out like, hey, I can't just sit here and like doom scroll all day long. And I think as soon as they figure out that like the doom scrolling can turn into a job, like once they figure out how to do it, then like I think that will help spur the next generation of what's going to happen in our market. And so,
Yeah.
I agree.
but it's just going to take a little
agree.
bit of time. It's crazy too, because if you look at the numbers, like before 2020, people could survive off of about 75, 80,000 a year. And then COVID happened. And now here we are in 250. like there's something happened between those years. And tinfoil hat theory, I think it started with stimulus checks. People became
Yeah.
lazy, and then the
geez.
stimulus check came in. People were like, "Oh, look, I got a little bit of money," and so then now they're like, "Crap, I can't rely on a government check. Actually got to go back out and work." And so I think a lot of them are trying to figure out like how I can turn a job, like a passion or a hobby, into a job, and then that will spur the economy again. And so
Right.
we just have to.
And I,
It's painful. We just have to wait for it.
right. But
Yeah.
I will say that like the four of us are we're each a success story in that. Like, let us be the ones that inspire you to understand that like if you put in the work and you show up every day and you do it,
Yes.
whatever you're passionate about can become your job and what you do.
150%.
Fulfilling. And but it is not in any way, shape, or form an overnight or even like a year commitment or a 2-year commitment.
No.
Like this is a
No.
marathon, not a sprint. Like
Some
8
people
years.
start their own companies at 50
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're successful. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Like I just
So,
saw it just the
like-
other day. A lot of CEOs don't become successful until they're in their 50s. And
50s.
so,
Yeah.
like you're in your 30s, people. Like, calm the f down, do a little hard work, take a
Yep.
one less vacation a
Well-
year, like figure out
Yeah.
life and get successful.
Right.
yeah,
And
instant
I mean,
gratification.
ultimately,
I think that's what it is.
yes. Yes.
That's it's pulling
raining-
everybody down.
Reining that in. It's
Golly.
reining that in.
Yes, yes. My last
For
one I
sure.
want us to
So-
talk about. This is
Yeah.
like a big topic that I see too. A lot. It's not a hot topic in my world, but I think this millennial trend is going to really start taking off in our area. Is like millennials are starting to focus more on a healthy lifestyle too. So I have a feeling that in South Atlanta, just like one of our previous episodes, we had mentioned that we're getting a Trader Joe's, and so I feel like that push, because we're getting that sprouts, a lot of those like healthier markets are starting to come into our area, where that's going to start drawing in a new crowd going, well, I would need to be in the city because I wanted to have access to a Trader Joe's.
To these things. Right. Right.
So like that focus on lifestyle is what's also going to really start attracting more people to come into our area.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And, and there being what may not be your dream home or even the beginning of your dream home, but that you can
Start somewhere.
access these areas and
Yes.
start somewhere.
Yes.
Let it be a stepping stone in your journey, but also just in order to take part of all of those things, like the imposter syndrome and the whole, like, I gotta keep up with the Joneses, all that stuff, all that stuff's gotta go. Like,
Yeah.
you have to like completely
Out.
cut that shit out and like legit put your blinders on and do
Yes.
not care what anybody else is doing. And
Yeah.
because the way that other people spend their time and their money and the way that they're
Exactly.
doing things is none of your business.
Yeah.
None of your business.
Zero.
And you have no idea. Like, they could be putting all of that on a credit card and be just drowning
Drowning.
in debt, or they could be, paying cash. Who knows? But does that really matter? No, it means nothing for you. So like,
That's true.
if you can make a plan that works for you and your family,
Just focus.
that keeps
Yes.
everybody, healthy and mentally stable,
Yes.
and because foregoing the vacations and things for forever is also not the answer. This is
Yeah.
why I can't do the whole Dave Ramsey thing, like the whole beans and rice. Don't ever see the inside of a
Exactly.
restaurant ever
Restaurant.
again thing. It's just it's not.
It's not sustainable.
It's not. So
No.
like, there's other ways to go around it,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to set up little things to keep
Baby
you
steps.
motivated,
Yes.
right? So if like you can just like get your foot in the door, like
Mm-hmm.
start somewhere, find even if it's a rental, like find a rental that you can do in the area that you want to live in, start there, and
Mm-hmm.
then like befriend us, become
Yeah.
friends with us so that we can help you figure out how to keep that dream moving in the right direction.
Bingo.
Well, and I mean that's what we did. I mean, even wanting to be in Peachtree City, we rented for a year, just to. Well, we were intending on renting for a couple years, but because we couldn't figure out what part we wanted to live in, but we ended up in a house. We own the house. I mean, obviously, but is it my dream home or was it the vision I had as my dream home?
No.
Yeah,
Like,
same.
But are we close to everything? Can the kids go on a golf cart trail like 2 minutes to the school? I mean,
It works.
4 minutes to Johnny's
Mhm.
Pizza. God forbid if I eat there one more time.
Ah,
And like
How many shares do you have?
twice
Right?
yesterday.
I want to
Happy
know
Mother's Day. Yeah,
how-
twice
how-
yesterday.
Wow.
But
How much
it's
of that
okay.
company do you own now?
They have an outdoor patio I can eat there right now. So we
Oh,
just go.
Johnny's Pizza
make
seems like they're
sure
being promoted.
make sure with Johnny's
But
that you sign up for the rewards program.
oh, we have
I was
it.
about to
Oh
say
yeah, we
because
got
so
that.
many people
We're
don't know
on
about
them.
it.
Cash it in.
They have our name on the wall, like. But I mean,
That's a
On
whole nother
walls.
level.
yeah, that's another story.
Wow.
But you do what you got to do.
Gotta do what you
You
gotta
do.
do. Yep.
You do.
We're like a second family. It's okay. But I
Yeah.
mean, if you're moving to an area like this for the health and lifestyle and everything, like you're gonna compromise on the house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the price points are higher because of the community and the lifestyle. It's not. I mean, our house was built in 1980. So we had a fight with the insurance company, over all this stuff. I mean, it was a process, but I mean, and we've painted, we've replaced, good God,
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
appliances, furniture, whatever. I mean, ridiculous amount
All
of
the
stuff.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we wanted to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the rest of the stuff, like you said, Peyton, I mean, I'm not trying to keep up with our neighbors. Like, they got an outdoor pool with the bed swing and all that crap.
Right.
And every day I walk out and I'm like, oh, that must be nice. But I'm like, one day,
One day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
one day.
Just put your foot in the door.
Yeah.
It's funny. There is a lot of webinars about people starting, become a homeowner, and then the webinars talk about no, don't buy a house. That's the worst mistake ever. Dave Ramsey says, yes, buy a house. It's financial stability. Many years ago, it actually was where rent was so cheap. If you wanted to buy, you needed to make extra money because it was a luxury to own a home. And then that X amount of money that you didn't put towards the house as a mortgage, you can put in an investment account and have $1 million right now. Now rent is so freaking high that you buy a house and that's your investment right there.
Yep.
Like whatever you guys are watching on TikTok, I still see these videos on TikTok, Instagram, and stuff like that. Just buy my webinar, watch it. It's free at the beginning. They tell you do not buy because you have to pay taxes, you have to pay insurance, you have to pay maintenance. Yes, you do, but your rent goes up every year, and then guess what? Your
You're not
mortgage is
getting any
going
of
to
that.
go down.
Yeah.
But what they
Right.
don't tell
Yeah,
you
right.
is the first 45 seconds of their webinar is free, and the rest of the video is like $14.99
Yeah,
per
buy
minute.
my book.
Right.
So it's
right,
like-
per
Yeah.
minute.
Like they're making money off
Yeah.
of you because you're a sucker. Like that's how it really boils
Right.
down
Yeah,
to it.
instant gratification.
Well, let's loop this all the way back around. Those people have found what they're good at, and they're selling it for their side hustle to
Bingo.
those
Yeah.
who don't want to take the time to figure
Yep.
it out
Yeah.
themselves.
True.
So all you're doing instead of figuring it out or having a free conversation with one of us is paying somebody else for their information that you could have gotten for free somewhere else. So
Yeah.
there's your fun tip for the day.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a raspy voice and I'm gonna be like, join my webinar tonight, 7 to 8. It's free. And then you can buy my book and make sure you
Yes.
have to buy real estate, invest
Yep.
not your money, somebody else's money. No credit score required.
And at
Yeah.
the end,
You'll find me in bed. Not
here's my
not
course
your
on
webinar. Thank you so much.
Bitcoin.
Oh,
All the stuff at the end of
yeah.
it.
I think it's been 2 agents this week that got hacked.
Oh my God.
So, see,
Yeah.
gotta
always
love them.
something.
Gotta love them.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Well, there is hope.
Yes.
There's hope for the generation.
that's what I was
Let that
about
be
to
known.
say. Because at the end of the day, like, there's always got to be forward progress. Millennials are going to be like the next generation that helps. Like, we're going to look back on the Gen Zers and the Gen X and go, man, how did y'all do it? Oh, you went to work? Like, you put your bootstraps on and went to work? Okay. So we got to do
Yeah.
the same thing. Like, that's
Right.
what it really boils
Right.
down to.
Well, and I mean, if you think about it, we survived 2009, when every shit hit the fan.
Amen, yeah.
Like literally, I got my marketing degree. Went to California to be in marketing in corporate video, and like crap hit
Yeah.
the fan. And I'm like, cool. I was making $400 a day, like in corporate video, just doing marketing crap, and then like it went down
it
to
was gone.
twice a week, once
Yeah.
a week, like. And so, I mean, we survived that. We survived COVID. We survived all this
Whatever's going on
crap.
now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we're still here.
Mhm.
So, in my mind, I'm like, if anybody can raise kids to like show them the best way to like set their career and set their future and set their lives like in order.
us.
Like, God willing, it's got to be us.
I agree. Preach.
Yeah.
Yep.
We were built different, so
Yeah, that's right. I really do believe that, though.
I think
Like,
so too.
the amount of stuff that our generation has been exposed to and
Yeah.
had to go through, and just unprecedented amount of stuff that we have had to process as children all the way through being adults.
Yeah.
No other generation has had it the way that we have had it, and the things that we have had to deal with. So I completely agree with you. If anybody can do it, it's us. And
can
if we
do it,
and
yep.
then we can redraw the boundaries of what this looks like going forward, and how you can do things going forward, and how you can have it all in a healthy way for you and your family, and it not be a constant competition.
Bingo.
yeah. Please,
Cool.
people, watch your mental health.
Yes,
Please take care of yourselves,
please.
Yes.
especially these times. Please do it.
Let's, like, for real though.
That's a conversation in itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's an upcoming episode.
Yes.
Why Payton has anxiety.
And Megan.
Everybody.
Well, all of us have undiagnosed. Yes.
Oh no,
Yeah.
mine's
Oh,
diagnosed.
yes.
I did
Yeah,
diagnose.
you're good. Yes. All the other ones,
Diagnosed too.
we just lurk and go, can we just get some of your meds every once in a while?
No, cannot.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Well, that tells
Here's
you
my here's
which
my
companies
doctor's
you should be
number.
Exactly.
investing on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pharma,
Yep.
pharmaceuticals, depression meds,
Oh,
guys,
pharmaceuticals?
money in there.
Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah,
taking-
By the way, we are
20
also
pills a day?
looking for
Oh, yeah, that's
sponsors. So
Yeah,
if any pharmaceutical
looking for-
companies out
so-
there,
so
we're
Pfizer.
Pfizer. Moderna,
exactly.
Any of
Cool.
those.
Whoever all these.
All right.
and John's.
Well, I think that wraps
Great.
up this episode about the millennial trends coming to South Atlanta. So, any closing thoughts, or are we good?
Don't feel discouraged.
Yeah. Don't feel
We
discouraged.
can all do it. Yeah, just make a plan with your real estate agent and your photographer and your loan officer. It can happen. It's gonna take a
Find the
second,
tribe.
but it's gonna happen.
Bingo.
What was the saying? Oh, Waterboy, you can do it.
Yes. Adam Sandler all
Yes.
day, baby.
Yes.
No, but you really can. And that's the good thing is it's possible.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, guys. Well, thanks for sticking around and listening to our craziness for this last almost hour. That wraps up this episode. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace out.